protest and a concerted effort to squeeze our ability to speak up about Palestine. And we know that this is happening because we've built a mass movement that, despite the smears, lies and intimidation, will not be silenced and is not going away. In fact, we're growing in numbers and determination. And this is because we are the voice of majority opinion in this country, and history will prove us right and our politicians wrong. So we must continue to defend our right to protest as we're doing today, and whether anyone is being charged with actions in relation to our Palestine campaign. But more importantly, let's redouble our efforts to speak up and take to the streets in support of the Palestinian people, who are perhaps the most resilient people on this planet. I hope to see you back on the streets in London on August the 9th for our next national demonstration. Free, free Palestine!
Free, free! Palestine! Free, free! Free, free! Palestine! Now our next speaker is the General Secretary of CND. It's Sophie Bolt. Please give her a very warm welcome before she goes into court.
Thank you so much. It's so amazing to see so many of you here. It's just really wonderful. All the messages of solidarity really make a massive difference. Because, you know, you are facing something on a personal level. But of course, we know that this is an attack on the movement. That's what this is about. And it's because we have been so effective and we continue to be so effective. The government is trying to defend the indefensible, and we are putting the spotlight on that. It's complicity in genocide. They are trying to disrupt our movement. They are trying to disunite us. They're trying to take our focus away from Palestine. But that's not working, is it? We're seeing hundreds of thousands of new people joining our movement. And that's because the situation has got so much worse. We're now in a situation where the UN World Food Programme is saying that 500,000 people are now suffering famine. They are now dying of starvation, precisely because Israel will not let the aid in. Hundreds and hundreds of trucks of aid is not being allowed into Gaza. This is absolute war crime being committed by Israel. So we have to stand up to the challenge. We have to reach that challenge, and we're doing that. We're being really, really effective. So I just want to say thank you. We will keep protesting. We've got to keep the pressure on this government. The recognition of Palestine as a state, the government should have done that years ago. They shouldn't be putting conditions on this. This is absolutely obscene. They have a right to be recognised as a state. What the government should be doing is taking action that's going to make a real difference on the ground. And that means an arms embargo. That means sanctions. That means ending the diplomatic ties. That means ending the military surveillance flights that are still continuing. So that's why we've got to keep going. And I'm so proud of this movement. It's such a privilege to be part of this movement. So see you all soon. If not Friday, see you on the 9th. Free, free!
Palestine!
Free, free!
Palestine!
Solidarity! In our thousands, in our millions!
We are all Palestinians!
In our thousands, in our millions! And in our millions, in our billions! When the right to protest is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up and fight!
When the right to protest is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up and fight! Now our next speaker here today is the convener of Stop the War Coalition. Please give a very warm welcome to Lindsay German.
Thanks very much, and solidarity with Sophie and Alex. They are just the latest in a whole range of people who've been arrested, who've been questioned, who've been charged, and who are now facing criminal sanction for the outrageous daring to demonstrate in support of the Palestinians. And when you think what this is about, on January the 18th, people were arrested because they tried to lay flowers outside the BBC. They were arrested because they peacefully wanted to protest over the plight of the Palestinians. And let's think what has happened even since January. We now see every day on our television screens pictures of people dying of starvation, babies dying of starvation. What does that mean? This is something everybody could have predicted when Keir Starmer said 20 months ago, Israel has the right to deny food and electricity to the Palestinian people. Where does that stop? Does it stop when they're a bit hungry? Does it stop when they're really hungry? Or does it stop when they're starving? Or doesn't it even stop then? The idea that they've got these airdrops, which Keir Starmer is saying is going to help the Palestinians, when there are thousands of trucks that could get in every day, but they are being shot at. The people who are trying to get the food are being shot at. It is the most barbaric series of war crimes that we're seeing on the Palestinian people, and we cannot allow it to continue. And that is what the protest today is about. It's about the right to stand up for the Palestinians. We know in this country, the Zionists, the media, the government, most of the politicians have been with the Israelis all the way through. Now they're terrified. It took a Tory MP to say to David Lammy, are you worried about ending up in The Hague? Just think about that. A Tory MP has to be the conscience of the members of Parliament because all the Labour ones, or most of the Labour ones, have completely gone along with this complicity with Israel. So they are now getting frightened. That's what the recognition of the Palestine state is about. They've been forced into this position, and it is a position which, while it might be welcome, will not make any fundamental difference to the lives of the Palestinians now or in the future. The truth is, this is a country which has been destroyed by the Israelis. The people have been driven out of their homes until they have the right of return, until they have the right to their own homeland. Then you will not have the right of justice and equality for the Palestinian people. And that just brings me to my final point, which the right to protest is under attack in a way that it has not been, I think, probably in my lifetime, certainly since the miners' strike. But the miners' strike was very much about the miners themselves and their immediate supporters. This is about everybody. It's about all the Palestine movement, and I'm very glad that there's a judicial review of the prescription of Palestine action, but that should never have happened in the first place. It is not terrorism, and it is not a crime to support the Palestinians, but they will do it not just for the Palestinian movement, they will do it for trade unions, they will do it for people protesting over housing. We have to say people in this country fought for hundreds of years for the right to protest, the right to vote, the right to join a trade union, the right to be able to have free assembly. We are not going to give it up. And the people in court today are representatives of the movement who said for 200 years, we are not going to give it up. So solidarity to them, solidarity everyone. Be there on Friday night when we have the pots and pans protest, and what brilliant protests they are. How fantastic the one in Downing Street was last week. But be there on the 9th when we've got an emergency national demonstration where we're saying stop harming Israel and stop starving the people of Gaza. Thank you very much.
Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! One, we are the people. Two, three. One, we are the people. Two, three. One, we are the people. Two, three. It's great to see some trade union banners here today. Palestine is a trade union issue. The right to protest is a trade union issue. And one person who knows that well is our next speaker. He's the General Secretary of the National Education Union. Please make some noise for Daniel Kabedi.
Thank you very much, Grace. I want to make 3 points. Number one, as Grace said,
The fight for Palestinian rights is a trade union issue. The fight for justice is a trade union issue. And the right to defend protest is a trade union issue. We stand in absolute solidarity with Alex, with Sophie, with Chris, and with Ben. But it's not just our union. We all saw the breadth of support for these four, from Paul Novak, from Christine McAnee, from Sharon Graham, and all the other general secretaries who signed that statement. Number two, you hear a lot about two-tier policing at the moment. Well, it seems to me that Palestine solidarity activists are getting an incredibly hard time from this state and the Metropolitan Police. A far harder time than far-right activists like Tommy Robinson, who spout hatred on social media, assault people at St Pancras Station, and then flee the country with no issue. We absolutely have to defend the right to protest in this country. But number three, the third and final point I want to make, the real crime is not those who are standing in solidarity with the Palestinian people. The real crime is the genocide in Gaza. The real crime is that our children starving. The real crime is that there are thousands lying beneath the rubble. When I was here last time for Chris and for Ben, I talked about the Martin Luther mounting top speech after the clampdown on protests. Well, I want to just reference him one more time. The arc of moral justice bends towards freedom, is on our side, and that is freedom for Palestinians. Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine! Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Now our next speaker today is the director of the Palestine Solidarity Campaign. Please make some noise for Ben Jamal!
Thank you. Friends, you know that it is a serious and important day when Alex Kenny gets into a suit and tie. Friends, in a few minutes, two people are going to walk into that court to stand in the dock because of their actions in relation to Israel's genocidal assault upon the Palestinian people. Those two people are not David Lammy and Keir Starmer, who should be in the dock in The Hague for their crimes in aiding and abetting a genocide. No, the two people walking into that court are Sophie Bolt and Alex Kenny, two of the leaders of our movement, and their crime is that they have been protesting against the genocide. Their crime is that for all of their lives, they have stood for the principle that rights belong to everybody, regardless of race, ethnicity, or nationality, and that that principle extends to the Palestinian people. We know why the government is seeking to repress our movement. We know that this is its attempt to turn the conversation away from its complicity in Israel's crimes to those protesting against those crimes. Now, this week, Keir Starmer had an opportunity to do something to end that complicity. He recalled the cabinet to deal with the urgency, the horror, as he described it, of the current situation in Gaza. The day before he recalled the cabinet, he met Donald Trump and he said something that was true for once. He said the British people are revolted by the scenes they are seeing in Gaza of Palestinians being forcibly starved. He forgot to say that the British people are also revolted at his and his government's complicity in that forced starvation. And when he recalled the cabinet, he had an opportunity. He could have come out and stood on the steps of number 10 and said, today I announce a full arms embargo against Israel. Today I announce we are ending all military cooperation with Israel. Today I announce that the British state is suspending all trade with Israel, and we are freezing every Israeli asset held in UK banks, and we are introducing sanctions against every member of the Israeli government, including Benjamin Netanyahu. And I am now going to go to the UN and demand action from the UN Security Council. He didn't do any of that. Instead, he played games using the Palestinian right to self-determination as a bargaining chip, making some ludicrous promise, maybe at some stage, to recognize the state of Palestine, but not if Israel introduces a ceasefire, stops starving the Palestinians, and ceases its threats to annex their territory. The Palestinian people are not asking the British government to recognize the state of Palestine. They are asking it, they are demanding that it ends all of its complicity with their decades-long oppression. So we know the government is going to continue with its attempts to repress our movement. It will not work. Alex Kenny and Sophie Bolt will not be silenced. You will not be silenced. We will keep up the pressure, and we know that the government is starting to wilt under that pressure. We saw yesterday a court making the inevitable decision, the correct decision, that the prescription of Palestine action should now go to judicial review. We salute that decision, but we demand that the courts make the correct decision and end that prescription. We demand that the government drop all charges against those arrested illegitimately for their actions on the January the 18th, but we will not be silenced. We will keep up our protests. So I want to see you all out on the streets again on Friday in the pots and pans protests that are taking place in more than 60 locations across the country. And we want to see you all back on the streets of London on August the 9th, when in our hundreds of thousands, once more, we will be marching with our demand for an end to all UK complicity, and we will never stop our protests until the day of liberation finally arrives. Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Thank you.
In our thousands, in our millions!
We are all Palestinians!
In our thousands, in our millions!
We are all Palestinians!
In our thousands, in our millions!
We are all Palestinians!
In our thousands, in our millions!
We are all Palestinians!
When the right to protest is under attack, what do we do?
Fight back!
When the right to protest is under attack, what do we do?
Fight back!
When the right to protest is under attack, what do we do?
Fight back!
Next up, we have another trade union leader whose union has stood proudly with us on all of the demonstrations for Palestine. Here, representing over 200,000 public sector workers, is the General Secretary of PCS Union, Fran Heathcote.
Thanks so much for having me along, and can I just bring absolute solidarity from my union, PCS. At our conference in May, we unanimously carried a motion that we will keep fighting until Palestine is free and until the killing stops. 2 weeks ago, I was one of the 22 General Secretaries to sign a letter calling for the charges against Alex and Sophie to be dropped and defending the right to protest, and we will keep protesting, because make no mistake, our protests are having an impact on this government. We'd not even have the mealy-mouthed statement from Keir Starmer this week if it wasn't for the public pressure that has been mobilised by the Palestinian Solidarity Campaign. PCS stands in solidarity with Alex and Sophie, just as we do with Ben Jamal and Chris Nynham, and as we did with John McDonnell and Jeremy Corbyn too. In September, we are seeking to amend a motion to the TUC to defend and strengthen the right to protest and to oppose the prescription of Palestine action, which should never have happened. And we expect every single union to back that call to defend our rights and our duty to oppose the genocide in Gaza. So solidarity to Alex and Sophie. Free, free Palestine. Thank you.
Free, free Palestine! Free, free!
Palestine!
Free, free!
Palestine!
1, 2, 3, 4! 5, 6, 7, 8!
Israelis a terrorist state!
1, 2, 3, 4!
Occupation no more!
5, 6, 7, 8!
Israelis a terrorist state!
Israelism!
Terrorist state!
Israelism!
Terrorist state!
Israelism!
Terrorist state!
Israelism!
Terrorist state!
1, 2, 3, 4!
Occupation no more!
5, 6, 7, 8!
Israelis a terrorist state!
Israelism!
Terrorist state!
Israelism!
Terrorist states!
Our next speaker is here representing the Campaign for Nuclear Disarmament. Please make some noise for the new Vice President of CND, Alex Gordon.
Good morning, everyone. I think it was, I'll just let the ambulance pass. I think it was my namesake, Alexander Pope, about 300 years ago, who asked the question, who would break a butterfly upon a wheel? And we need to ask ourselves why these charges are being brought against people for the crime of holding a bunch of flowers in public and threatening to lay them at the feet of some policemen. We have to keep in mind that these charges are outrageous, that the police and the CPS are trying to criminalise a peaceful protest against a genocide, which is a crime. Britain has a rich history of protests, and the Campaign for Nuclear Disarmament is very proud to be part of that tradition of peaceful protest against war and against the proliferation of nuclear weapons. And these attacks today on our movement, on Alex Kenny and Sophie Bolt, are attacks because we are being effective. It's because we're being so effective, and it exposes the complicity of this government in the crime of genocide. We need to keep up the pressure now. We need to show absolute resolve, absolute solidarity with Ben and Chris and Sophie and Alex. The current situation, as we're reminded every day, every time we look at our mobile phones, the current situation in Palestine is horrific. Nuclear-armed Israel is deliberately and systematically starving the people of Gaza. They need to let aid trucks in now. There must be a ceasefire. There must be the recognition of a Palestinian state without any preconditions by the government of this country. The Labour government's response is shameful. To use Palestinian statehood, the legitimate political democratic aspiration of the Palestinian people ratified by UN decisions over the years as a bargaining chip, is totally wrong, and it shows they've got no genuine solidarity with the plight of the Palestinians. The UK government needs to take action that will have an impact, and that action is to end all arms sales, bring sanctions on Israel, and cut our diplomatic ties with Israel, kick out the ambassador, and stand up to Netanyahu and to Trump. I'll see you all tomorrow on local protests, I hope, and I'll see you all on Saturday, the 9th of August, in the next national demonstration for Palestine. Free, free!
Palestine!
Free, free!
Palestine!
Thank you.
Free, free!
Palestine!
Free, free!
Palestine!
When the right to protest is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
When the right to protest is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
Now, next up, we have another trade union leader whose union has stood proudly with us on all of the national demonstrations for Palestine. Here, representing the RMT, is the General Secretary, Eddie Dempsey.
Hello, everyone.
Inside here today, we've got a trade unionist and a peace campaigner. And my trade union, over the past couple of years, has been at the forefront of many battles, whether it's the battles for our class or battles for peace in the world. And what we've seen is successive governments now seeking to clamp down and criminalise our ability to organise and protest and campaign for workers' rights, to campaign against poverty, and to campaign for peace in the world. And this authoritarian turn is a worry for all of us. Our right to strike, our right to protest, our right to stand up for our class, our right to stand up for peace in the world and to stand against a genocide is under erosion, and that is why our movement, our labour movement, our trade union movement has got to be at the forefront of this battle for our civil liberties and our rights. So I just want to extend the solidarity of my trade union to our two comrades who are in here today. I've got to go to one of my councils later today to explain to them why they can't say certain things, why they can't take certain opinions, lest they fall foul of anti-terrorism legislation in this country. This government is at risk of criminalising not just the protest movement, but the basis for the entire labour movement itself. And that is why we must all stand together and say it is our right, and we will carry on to protest and strike for our class, for peace in the world and against genocide. Solidarity.
In our thousands, in our millions! 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 The people united will never be defeated! The people united! 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 Our next speaker is here representing the Muslim Association of Britain. They're another of the co-organisers of the national demonstrations. Please make some noise for Ragad Al-Takriti!
Brothers, sisters, friends, assalamu alaikum, peace be upon you all. We are gathered here today not just to defend two protesters, but to expose the moral collapse of a system that calls itself a democracy, while punishing those who speak out against mass slaughter. Alex and Sophie are facing charges for doing what any person of conscience should do: standing against genocide, standing against the silence, standing against the British state's support for the destruction of Gaza. They're not on trial because they disrupted the peace. They're on trial because they disrupted complicity. I was standing there behind the banner next to Sophie on that day in January. And Sophie just reminds me of a gentle soul of butterflies. And we were asking ourselves, when will the police stop us? So we laid the flowers as was intended and turned back. So today is absolutely ridiculous. And meanwhile, those enabling war crimes, those supplying the weapons, licensing the exports, backing Israel with political cover, face no consequence, no courtroom, only protesters do. Let's call what this is: criminalizing solidarity. What message does it send when speaking out for Palestine is treated as a public nuisance, but being complicit in an ethnic cleansing is just foreign policy? This is not about rule of law. It is about the rule of power. The law in this moment is not neutral. It is being weaponized, not to protect people, but to protect Britain's role in a war it refuses to condemn. But they will not intimidate us. We will not be deterred by arrests or summons or show trials, because history has shown us again and again, criminal charges cannot crush moral clarity. We are not afraid because we know what we are standing for. We are standing for life, for dignity, for freedom, for Palestine. Alex and Sophie are not alone. They are part of all of us, a movement refusing to accept that complicity is normal or that silence is neutral. So let's say it plainly. Palestine is not the problem. Protest is not the problem. The problem is a government that chooses the side of genocide every single time. In the end, it will not be the protesters who are remembered with shame. It will be those who stayed silent and those who tried to silence others. Alex and Sophie, we stand with you because the truth is not illegal. Solidarity is not a crime, and we will not stop until Palestine is free. Thank you very much.
Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! In our thousands, in our millions! In our thousands, in our millions! In our thousands, in our millions! And in our millions, in our billions! Thank you all so much again for being here today. As Raquel said, Alex and Sophie are not alone. We all stand with them because we are them, they are us. We all stand together as we stand with everyone who faces these ridiculous charges. On Friday, please, everyone, if you can join a Pots and Pans protest, please get back out on the streets again on the 9th of August. Let's make sure that the national demonstration is the biggest one that we've seen so far. Because in our thousands, in our millions, in our thousands, in our millions, and when the right to protest is under attack, what do we do? When the right to protest is under attack, what do we do? When the right to protest is under attack, what do we do? That's all of the speeches for now. I know you're used to us having never-ending speeches, but we have no one else, so we'll be staying out here for a while. I'm not sure how long Alex and Sophie are going to be inside for, but we'll continue to do some chanting for a while. And please do hang around for them if you can. But if not, we hope to see you all again on Friday and on the 9th of August.
And on Saturday in Haringey, marching on David Lammy's constituency office, if you are around, meeting at the Bernie Grant Arts Centre at 12 and walking down to his, up till this point, secret constituency office to leave him a message.